Hey, this is a very brief overview on the IDA's basic operating modes. So, as short as possible, I will try to go through all of those operating modes that are optional in the IDA or that are basically possible in the IDA. We're going to start in the spectrum. So once you click on spectrum, you can see the spectrum, and right now you can also see the spectrogram. Within each mode we have different sub-modes or sub-views which you can access when clicking on measurement. So when doing that in here, you can also activate the spectrogram only or the spectrum only. We could also take a delta spectrum which compares different traces. We don't want to do that now. Of course, as it's typical for a spectrum analyzer, in the bottom you can also see the frequency information, the bandwidth information, sweep time, and so on, whether the reference level, at which level the reference level is, and whether the preamp is on or off. You can also activate different traces on the right side here. Well, right now we're watching some GSM, some 2G signals with broadcasting and traffic information. And when clicking on menu again, we can also go to the level meter, where we have to enter one specific frequency and bandwidth, and then we will measure the, in this case, peak and the effective power of those channels. In time domain, we can use the IDA more or less as an oscilloscope. We do have a trigger activated right now, and we can see over a specific amount of time, which we can also change, of course, when clicking on time span. So right now we can display the GSM time slots based on one specific channel with one specific bandwidth. Of course, in the time domain scope mode, we can differentiate between the high resolution scope and the long time scope that allows us to record signals up to 24 hours. In addition to that, we can also display the multi-channel power mode that allows us to look at discrete channels that we have predefined and to check whether a specific channel has a transmitter inside that exceeds its allowed power, or we can also see whether there is any faulty channel that uses power that is, for example, much too low or that is just inactive. So this is a very easy and simple tool for radio monitoring tasks. And apart from that bar graph view, we can also display the table view only, showing us the channel information in that multi-channel table that we have predefined. Apart from that, of course, we can also do direction finding with the IDA. In this mode, we have also two different sub-modes or sub-views. So you can switch horizontal scan on or off. When you switch it off, you will see something like the level meter, and in addition, you will also see the azimuth and the elevation and polarization information of your handheld antenna. So once you move the handle with the electronic compass inside, of course you will also see those three information changing. Once we click on horizontal scan on, we can, after of course changing the frequency here and after adjusting the channel bandwidth, so based on that we can start a horizontal scan and apply direction finding. So let me just demonstrate that and now start the rotation of our antenna, which you won't see right now. So once we want to stop the measurement, we click on stop, and automatically the IDA calculates the direction to the highest field strength, which we can save and then display on a map. So we can do this now, save it. Typically we have to take care of the localization being switched on first. So save it once more, display it on a map. select most likely the right one, such as the world map, zoom out to that green area, move to point of view, and now we can see the bearing and of course still the current location or the current alignment of our antenna. So this is now changing live once I move the antenna again. Let's leave that again, switch localization off, and let's go to the last mode that we have not spoken about yet, which is the IQ analyzer, a very sophisticated mode that allows us to look into details on a channel or on specific signals. So right now we're taking a look at frequencies at signals around 466 megahertz. These are actually pager or POXAC signals, and you can see right here on the left hand side that the spectrogram that is typically in the range of seconds or sometimes even minutes is now just in the range of milliseconds. So now we have zoomed in and we have a great view on our signal, and what we can actually see is within the signal we can see the FSK modulation, and this allows us to check whether there are any kinds of interferences in between and whether there's anything going on that is just not supposed to be there. Also in the IQ analyzer we can change our different subviews. So right now we had high resolution spectrogram zoom in charge. What we can also do is go to the high resolution spectrogram full, wait a little bit until all the data have been captured and are now displayed, and this is now a condensed view showing us a time span of 500 milliseconds but still providing us a very high time resolution. So what we can do is we can go and hold. Now we're on hold, so now the measurement has been paused, and we can reprocess the data in different views, such as what we had before, the high resolution spectrogram zoom view, where we can scroll up and down as well. Of course, we can reprocess that all again, and for example, go to the persistent spectrum as well, which by color shows us basically how many times a specific frequency has been in charge. Well, those were basically all the operating modes in the IDA. Of course, there is much more to show. Please refer to all of our other videos. Thank you.